Father is facing 180 days in jail for overpaying his child support and over visiting his 11-year-old son. His attorney and a community activist are now demanding answers.
It's my responsibility to take care of it. I brought him in this world. I have to.
Clifford Hall says he's more than happy to pay child support for his 11-year-old son.
I'm his father. It's my responsibility to take care of it.
But Hall says when the amount of child support was modified, no one told him.
And I discovered that for some reason his employer was withholding a large amount some weeks, a small amount some weeks, zero amount some weeks.
And I didn't want to go to jail, basically.
So Hall quickly paid almost $3,000 in back child support. When Hall and his ex-wife were in Judge Lisa Millard's court last November, he owed nothing.
Opposing counsel testified twice that he's all paid up.
But the attorney representing the child's mother wanted Hall to pay her $3,000 in attorney fees, and Judge Millard agreed. Court documents also reveal Hall wasn't following the court's scheduled times to pick up his son, another modification he says he knew nothing about.
The judge ended up sentencing him to 6 months in jail.
When she said, I remand you to the Harris County Jail for 180 days, my mouth just dropped. I can't be there for my son in jail. I can't pay child support in jail. This is not in the best interest of the child.
Judge Millard also points out Hall's attorney could have filed a motion for reconsideration. She says that would have allowed her to hear both sides again and reevaluate the situation.
So after doing further research, Clifford Hall actually ended up getting released from jail after serving 14 days, thankfully to his strong legal team that he had hired to defend him. But here's what ended up happening overall. So not only did this innocent man spend 2 weeks of his life in jail, he lost his job. His employer even admitted that it was a clerical error on their part, and now he's $10,000 in debt, including having to also pay for his ex-wife's attorney fees, which she's the one that actually brought him to court in the first place. And as soon as he got out, he owed another $1,000 for child support. Where is the justice for these fathers?
Yeah, who wants to live in a society like this? Double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS. Peace, love, and salutations to the Bayafta Wadar, the House of David, and the Brother Zion. Once again, and Lord willing, this is edifying. This is semi-rant that, I'll do in this video. This won't be long. Isn't much to say concerning, the society that we live in and how it's tailor-made, all right, to destroy the so-called Black, Native American, and Hispanic. And it really it's gotten out of control, so much out of control that, the same system that was used to destroy, Jake is now targeting Esau. They say, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And this is what's happening. It's not just the casualty. Esau is not just a casualty of war anymore. He's now become a target based off this system of greed, of wickedness. All right. Here you have the serpent, all right, and Eve doing what they do best, with Jezebel tag teaming this so-called black man. Even when you try to do good according to their system, man's paying his child support, visiting his kids, happy to do so, working hard, staying out of trouble, not selling drugs, and he becomes a target, all right, of the serpent. And they wonder why we upset, or we just don't, give a damn, right? And they wonder why we just, say to hell with this. Ecclesiasticus chapter 7, verse 7. Surely oppression make a wise man mad, and a gift destroy the heart. You wonder why we crazy. And they wonder why we crazy. Right? They wonder why we upset. Wonder why this oppression built upon oppression built upon oppression. There's a number on that. Scripture too that says, let me see if I get this. There's actually into the system, and we know brothers who've gone through this, who've gone through who've had, signed birth certificates for children that they've thought that was theirs and were not theirs, and still ordered to pay child support, still ordered to, be in a baby's life, and things of that nature. That's a real thing here in Babylon. Psalms chapter 73, verse 8. They are corrupt. They speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak lawfully. They have this judge, calling herself with a foot to stand on, trying to trying to sentence this man to 6 months in jail. 6 months in jail for what? For what? All right, just to get this man back in debt, get this man off child support, to get this man away from his kid, which totally works against everything the system says that it stands for. But there's no checks and balances there because the system was designed just to do that. Child support division, that's what they want to do, or the family court division. They want to divide families, man. And that's exactly what child support is mainly intended to do. All right, the main focus of child support is to divide families. All right, welfare, Section 8, food stamps, those are all things to divide families, right? Because if you want to conquer a strong man, what do you have to do? First, you have to bind the strong man. And in this case, the so-called black man, he was the stone of the house, right? He was the one that, when you go to war, when two nations go to war with one another, the men that go to war, women are casualties of war, okay? Matthew chapter 12, verse 19. Wars how can one enter a strong man's house and spoil his good, except first he bind the strong man, and then he will spoil his goods. So what Esau has did is he's infiltrated our households. And how did you do that? By implementing these programs, basically, to make it his job to mind our business. A man's job is to provide and to protect. But once you strip those two main duties of a man, you're basically stripping him of his manhood. Because there was a time in which we did those things. We provided for our families. We went out and we worked. And we brought home the money. Women stayed home. And they did feminine things like took care of the children. They were feminists. They were the real feminists, meaning they were pro-women. All right, soft. Taking care of taking care of children. That's a woman's role. Cooking, because that's a part of nourishing. That's a woman's role. All right, being emotional support, caring for the sick, cleaning, taking care of her husband. All right, so that's a woman's role. When a woman is naturally in her mood, you know, and a man is naturally in his, it's a synergy, it's a perfect energy that goes together well. All right. So once they implemented the food, and they know what they did. Once they implemented the food stamps, all right, to where it was like, okay, a woman, Eve could say that she didn't need a man, you know, gave her housing, she didn't need a man, and did everything in their power to make the so-called black man um, powerless, you know, to make him powerless. Now you have what you have today, this deliberate attempt to destroy our families, and then look how it's worked. Nigeria, you have like it's like a 97% chance that if you get married, you stay married forever. In India, it's like a 98, 99. You know, in different cultures, these numbers are very, very high. But in Boston, not Boston, in America, if you get married, you have a higher chance of getting divorced than you do with staying with your actual partner. Only in Babylon is it like this, and this was targeted for the Israelite family, but the Babylon juice has again leaked out to the other nations concerning two things. Let me see. First, let me um, let me read this real quick. I believe this is Genesis. Genesis the first chapter. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Genesis 1 and 18. All right, 2 and 18. Slakia. And the Lord power said, "It is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a helpmeet." So here you have the Most High saying that it wasn't good that Adam or man should be alone, and He made us a helpmeet. A helpmeet is something just a help that's suitable for that man's needs in particular. So if the Lord said it's not good that a man should be alone, how much more for a woman? And you have women that crave off of independence, but really, in all actuality, they're not independent. Not just for the simple reason that the government helps them out or gives them jobs and things of that nature, but you can tell by their selection of men or their preference of men that they have no independence about them. So, for instance, a woman is screamed to the top of her lungs that she's independent, and when you ask her what type of man she's looking for, um, the requirements are a certain amount of money or a certain amount of wealth, all right, or a certain amount of status, which proves that she's not truly looking for independence. Because if she was truly independent, then her selection of men wouldn't have anything to do with finances. Because if you were independent, you had your own everything, then you're not looking for a spouse that's that has anything to do with finances. So a man that's successful, he doesn't mind pulling a woman out of a bartending job, or Dunkin' Donuts. Or if he sees a beautiful woman that's willing to, submit to his program, he'll marry her. He'll marry her because he's truly not focused on the finances. Whereas this woman is, which there's nothing wrong for a woman to select a man, based off of his status and stay with that man forever. My point is, just when you get to screaming that you're independent, and then you at one side of your mouth, and then on the other side you start talking about your standard and how much the man can make, it proves that you're not independent. Yeah, you are codependent. Human beings are codependent by nature. So-called black woman is the only woman that screams this: "I don't need a man." You don't see the Asian women doing that, Middle Eastern women doing that, African women screaming. It's only the so-called black woman who screams this madness. Putting your baby's father in jail that's already paying child support, He appears to have a great relationship um, with his kid. You know, you got to be a monster to want to see somebody go to jail unwrongfully. All right, but what was I was gonna go to some, yeah, but who wants to live in a society like this? You know, who wants to live in a, and they won't do nothing about it. That man ain't gonna get his, what, like, look how much he's lost. His job, his dignity, his manhood. You go to jail, they strip you down naked. You know, his trust in the system, his trust in his government, which he should lose that anyway. The scripture says you shouldn't put your trust in it in the first place. But speaking on a righteous level, you know, you're supposed to trust your leaders. King David, you're supposed to trust King David. You're supposed to trust um, King Solomon. But these are not our leaders, so we don't trust in them, and we don't trust in oppression. All right, and this man found out, which, hey, it's a good thing. I take that back. All right, but carnally speaking, you know, you guys the one who said you know, the pursuit of happiness. It's not the pursuit of goddamn happiness. I digress. Call all Yahweh Shimi Al Shai. Allah to the elders and apostles. Peace, love, and salutations to the Ba'af Shalom.